Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Welcome to day 729. George Santos reportedly scammed a disabled veteran out of $3,000 by using a fake animal charity to raise money for the veteran's service dog's cancer treatment. In May 2016, a veterinary tech connected U.S. Navy veteran Richard Ostoff with someone named Anthony DeVolder, who ran a pet charity called Friends of Pets United, so he could set up a GoFundMe for his service dog Sapphire. Anthony DeVolder, however, is an alias that Santos used for years before entering politics in 2020. After raising $3,000 for Sapphire's life-saving surgery, Ostoff says DeVolder made excuses and then became uncooperative before eventually disappearing with the money. Sapphire died January 15, 2017. When asked for a comment, Santos replied, quote, "Fake, no clue who this is," end quote. Meanwhile, immigration records contradict George Santos's claim that his mother died on September 11, 2001 in New York City. Fatima DeVolder applied for a visa for the first time in February 2003. She had not been in the United States since 1999. She died December 23, 2016, after which Santos solicited donations to pay for her funeral. Still, Santos's campaign website claimed, quote, George's mother was in her office in the South Tower on September 11, 2001. She survived the tragic events on September 11th, but she passed away a few years later when she lost her battle to cancer, end quote. Kevin McCarthy, meanwhile, insisted that he has, quote, always had a few questions, end quote, about George Santos's resume, but that, quote, the voters made the decision and he has a right to serve here, end quote. In early 2021, an aide to Santos was caught impersonating McCarthy's chief of staff while soliciting campaign contributions. Moving on, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis rejected an AP African American Studies course on the grounds that it violates state laws against the teaching of critical race theory. On January 12th, Florida Department of Education Office of Articulation informed the College Board, which runs the SAT test and the Advanced Placement or AP program, that, quote, as presented, the content of this course is inexplicably contrary to Florida law and significantly lacks educational value, end quote. Adding, quote, in the future, should College Board be willing to come back to the table with lawful, historically accurate content, FDOE will always be willing to reopen the discussion, end quote. Florida's Stop Woke Act was signed into law last April and set new rules banning critical race theory, an academic framework for examining systemic racism, which is not taught in most schools. DeSantis also called on the Republican-controlled legislature to permanently ban COVID-19 health measures like mask mandates and vaccine requirements. The proposal, dubbed Prescribe Freedom, would indefinitely extend existing bans that DeSantis signed in 2021, which impose fines on businesses requiring COVID-19 vaccinations, prohibits mask requirements in schools, and bans vaccine mandates as conditions to travel. The coronavirus has killed more than 84,000 people in Florida. Moving on, Trump's 2024 presidential campaign asked Facebook to reinstate his account, arguing that his ban has, quote, dramatically distorted and inhibited the public discourse, end quote, and that a continued ban would be a, quote, deliberate effort by a private company to silence Mr. Trump's political voice, end quote. Trump was initially banned indefinitely from Facebook on January 7, 2021, after the attack on the Capitol by his supporters the previous day. The House later impeached Trump on a charge of incitement of insurrection. Facebook later shortened the suspension to 2 years and said it would assess whether the risk to public safety had subsided enough to restore his account. And finally, parts of Greenland are now hotter than any time in the past 1,000 years, and the decade between 2001 and 2011 was the warmest in that entire period. Scientists reported that through 2011, the ice sheet in central North Greenland was on average 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 Fahrenheit warmer than it was during the 20th century, and that the rate of melting has increased with these changes. Greenland's melting ice sheet is a, quote, massive contributor to global sea level rise, end quote, and if carbon emissions continue unmitigated, the ice sheet is projected to contribute up to 19 inches of global sea level rise by the year 2100. In total, Greenland holds enough ice that it could lift global sea levels by roughly 24 feet if all of it melted. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefuckjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.